Today I'm looking at Pultec style EQs with the warm audio EQP-WA, which is based on the Pultec EQP-1A, and I'm also going to check out some other plugins like the Black Rooster Audio VEQ-1P and Ignite PTEq-X. PTEq-X. I think that's right. Okay, I think I got them all. That's a lot of numbers and things that all mean the same thing. This is a particular style of Pultec EQ. Pultec is a company, and Warm Audio does a bunch of high-end clones of things. I happen to be fixing and servicing these. I haven't really had any time to plan this out because I'm going to be working basically full-time in the recording studio that I've been working with for a couple years, Blue House Productions, while still running my piano tuning business. So I'm going to try to fit it all together and still make weekly videos for YouTube. So it's going to be a little bit hectic, but that's good. You know, you push yourself, you get good results. Hopefully. That's my hope. Which also means I'm going to be doing more stuff with some cool hardware and things that I wouldn't otherwise buy for the channel because they're too expensive or I don't need to use them. So today I'm going to test out two things. One is going to be a comparison between the hardware and software versions. And I'm also going to show how far you can take a mix using only this one kind of EQ, which is interesting, I think. So I'm going to take a demo track that I put out with my Cab Pack 4. I'm going to use that demo track. I'm going to take off all the other EQs and just use the raw amp sims and drums I got. I'm going to mix using the plugins, and then I'm going to render copies of that with the same settings through this so we can get a comparison. Does it make a difference? We'll find out. I guess I've spent the last maybe 2.5 hours or something mixing this. It didn't take that long to actually do the mix with the plugins. A lot of that time was rendering audio through the gear and figuring stuff out and tweaking it. I have a few thoughts. First of all, working with this hardware is a real pain, and it's also noisier. Sound-wise, I think it sounds good. In terms of workflow, I don't recommend it. Now, I know there are people who work with hardware a lot that have special studio setups where it's easy to patch stuff in, and they have a whole bunch of EQs and compressors and all that. But if you were someone like me who has a home studio and thought maybe I'll get, one nice compressor or one nice EQ. I mean, you can do it if you want, but remember that anything you want to use it on, you have to set it up, tweak it, and then also render the audio in real time through it. And then if you ever want to make any changes, you have to go back and hope that you remember kind of your settings and make some tweaks and then re-render it. It takes a long time. I think it's not exactly the best workflow unless you're in really a purpose-built studio. Would I go through the trouble of this again? No. Do I think it's worth it? No, not really. In fact, kind of the opposite. As far as noise goes, these are a lot noisier. And when you stack up, I had about 16 tracks or something that I recorded this through. When you stack all that up, it's just a little bit of noise on each one. You can't really hear it when the band's playing, but in the intro of this, you'll definitely hear all that noise. As far as the sound goes in these mixes, the warm audio was definitely a lot brighter. And I don't know if that, again, has something to do with like pot tolerance or maybe the volume I was feeding the signals at it. I fed all the signals into it at minus 18 LUFS, and that should be a good level for it. If you push it too high, it will start to distort some because it has the tubes in there. I do think the warm audio sounds a little more scooped, which is something I noticed with this EQ in general. The Ignite plugin and the Black Rooster plugin sound almost identical. And that's even considering that I'm kind of eyeballing the settings and they might be modeled after different gear, and there's always pot tolerance when you deal with analog stuff. So all that considered, they sounded very, very similar in terms of quality, in terms of the tone and everything. So if you're looking for a Pultec style plugin, check out the Ignite one. It's free. And if you like that kind of thing, there are a number of other ones out there from a bunch of companies. Like every plugin company just about has a Pultec. I do like the Black Rooster one because it has a beautiful interface, and I like working with things that look nice. The Ignite one's a little small and you can't change the size of it. So, that's a downside. That being said, in terms of features, I kind of like the Ignite the best. Plus, it's one plugin that also has the mid-range equalizer and the filter equalizer. So again, that's really nice. Black Rooster does have copies of those plugins too, but, since I don't have the hardware, I'm not shooting them out or anything. Here are the mixes. I'm going to show you first as they were recorded, and I have them volume matched. And then I'm going to show you a high cut on the warm audio because it is so much brighter. Just show you how it sounds when it's a little more in line with these others. We'll see what you think. I was a little worried that having only one kind of EQ and one that doesn't specifically treat the mids, I was going to end up not being able to sort of dial things in as I want. When you consider the bass boost and the treble boost, you can sort of scoop things out a little bit that way. I wouldn't ever really choose to only mix with this one plugin. There's certainly things in these mixes that I would like to tweak a little bit more if I, gave myself the option. But it worked out a little better than I thought. I wasn't sure if this mix was not going to sound very good because I'm only working with this one EQ, and it's one that I don't really use all the time, that I'm not super familiar with, but it worked out better than I expected. And in fact, I think I will incorporate more of this Pultec EQ into future mixes, just not with the hardware. I think I'll use it more now that I have a better understanding and a better appreciation of it. So all in all, it's a cool EQ. Test it out, play around with them. I hope you enjoyed that and learned a little something about the Pultec, why it's a classic and why it's loved by so many producers, and you can test out some of these things in your own mixes. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.